I am not changing this shirt. I'm looking down here at the monitor and I'm thinking this might have been a bad choice for this one, but I wanted to get this one knocked out. I'm on my way out the door and I was like, oh, well, if worst comes to worst, just turn the video off and just listen to it because this is good stuff. There's a lot of folks that spend a lot of time asking for reviews, and then once that's done, they just set it and forget it and don't pay attention to it. If reviews come in, reviews don't come in, they don't really pay much attention to it. They did their thing. I'm here to tell you, you need to respond to every review you get. Non-negotiable. And there's a very good reason for it. Actually, there's several. We'll get to that. Hey there, how you doing? This is Chris, your friendly neighborhood internet Sherpa, back again with another one of those tips on how to bring bodies through the door, put cheeks in the seats, and of course, build your list. Now, reviews, everyone knows what a review is. Someone, experiences your business, and then for whatever reason you asked or they got inspiration, they went online and dropped a couple of bits of prose on Google, Yelp, or some other review site. Basically, it's the modern version of word of mouth. Now, the reason why it's important is because, as we've said in many episodes before, it influences what other people are saying or thinking when they're deciding whether or not you are the person that they want to do business with. And again, I always talk about platforms and people because it's one of the few places that different algorithms get to look online to get a specific type of input about your business. So bottom line, reviews are important. I always want you to think about reviews in one way. And I've said it before, but I want to make sure I'm throwing it out there now. They're not good. They're not bad. They're simply content. They are stuff for you to work with. They're a tool that you can use. There's a lot of content online. This is free range content. And although you don't write it, you can still use it to help your business, no matter what someone puts online. So you need to understand that every time someone drops a review for you online, it's an opportunity for you to shape your future. So always keep that in mind. Now, in the world, according to Chris Carter, there's two types of reviews. Reviews you ought to respond to and reviews you better respond to. And I think if you just let your mind ruminate a little bit, you can pretty much tell the difference. The reviews you ought to respond to are what we call the positive reviews. The ones where someone felt some kind of way, you asked them and they left you a 5.0 or 4.0 or something like that and said all kinds of cool, wonderful things about you. Those are the kind that you want. And the reason you ought to respond to them is because of two people they're going to affect. One is the person who left you the review. And here's what I mean by that. If you ask someone to leave your review and they say, yep, I'm going to go do that, and then they type in whatever they type in. Now, we're not talking about someone who just dropped you stars. We're talking about someone took the time to drop some prose online. Chances are they're not going to just set it and forget it. I mean, a lot of them will, but a lot of them are going to sit there and wait for you to respond to it. And what they're waiting for is basically your online thank you. Thank you for taking the time, for putting in the effort to leave me a review. That's what your response is for those folks. And if you don't do that, you're sending two messages. One, the person who left you a review, like, appreciate you, but whatevs. And then for the people who are going to do business with you in the future, oh, this person doesn't pay attention to what other people are thinking about, what their customers are thinking. Now, they may or may not think that consciously, but it might seep in there. And even if it doesn't, do you really want to take the chance? No, you don't. So positive reviews, you ought to respond to. There's another reason why you ought to respond to, and we're not going to get into the nuts and bolts of it here, but it's because it gives you a chance to work with that piece of content if you respond to it. And we'll hit that in the next episode. We're going to talk about not just why you respond. We're going to talk in the next episode how to respond. But this one, yeah, that's just content that you get to do something with to help your business. That's why you should do it. Now, the second kind of reviews that we're talking about are the ones you better respond to. And those are the ones that can be classified as negative reviews. And there's a bunch of different reasons why you could get a negative review. And we're not going to go into all of them, but there are a couple that's really important to pay attention to. One, you stunk up the joint. And, that's the one that's going to happen very seldom. Two, you had somebody who had a bone to pick with you. Maybe you did nothing. Three, someone has a misunderstanding. It doesn't matter. There's a bunch of different reasons why someone could leave you a quote unquote negative review. And like we said before, the response that you put out there, that's your opportunity to shape the narrative, because a review is is another chapter in the story about your business online. And it's very important that you have a hand in shaping that. Now, again, we're going to get into the how to respond to all those in the next episode. But the point being, if someone leaves a comment about your business and you don't respond to it, then it must be true, right? I mean, it's not a natural if this then that kind of scenario, but think about it in terms of the people who are looking at your review, your future customers. If someone said you are terrible at what you do and you don't respond, I don't care how you look at that. That's not a message that you want out there. So there's no goodness, there's no good can come from not responding to a negative review. So just bear that in mind. Now, the last thing I want to leave you with, maybe there's two things. You are controlling the narrative. And this is what I mean by this. And this is maybe this is selfish of me, but I think you can follow me with this. Every piece of content that you throw online is a conversation you're having with someone you haven't met yet. People who are thinking about working with you, comparing you to somebody else that they have an option of working with, are trying to figure out who you are and whether you're worth it. Same thing with the programs and algorithms and all that. That's your story. You probably should have the last word. In no way, shape, or form, and in no universe, and no reality I can think of, does it make sense for you to let someone else have the last word about your business. Period. So when we come down to, if we break down this whole episode into why you should respond to reviews, because you need to have the last word, period. And I mean, I could TLDR that one and throw it up front. I probably should have, but where would be the suspense? Anyway, you get the idea. The bottom line is responding to reviews is not a nicety. It's not something that you ought to do. It's something that you really should do if you're trying to grow your business, if you're trying to show appreciation to the folks who have done work with you, if you're trying to respond to people who feel some kind of way and want to tell the rest of the world about it. There's just too much goodness going on there. Reviews are important. Reviews have impact in so many different ways. So you should always respond when someone leaves you a review. Now, reviews, one piece of the puzzle in this thing we call local online marketing. And there's all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of things that go together, as you probably picked up. And if you're out there wandering around, if you just discovered me, you'll find that one of my most important things is making sure you understand the game that's being played. Because it's a multi-layered kind of situation going on. And if you're not quite sure at least what the ground rules are, it's very easy to get lost and take off down a tangent and totally forget some of the other things that are important. So because you and I are nice like that, at least I'd like us to be nice like that, I put together a little bit of a guide. And to get to that guide, just go to c2local.io/freething. Yeah, I know. No, not changing it. I'm gonna leave it right there. And it's a free guide. You don't have to download it or nothing. No, opt in. No, give me your email address. It's just sitting over there with information that says this is the game that you're playing. Because I feel if you understand the game that you're playing, a lot of the things that you're doing will start to make sense. And that's what I'm shooting for what you're having to do, because you're running a business. You're rocking on your own. At least you should understand the game that you're playing. And hopefully I made it clear. I think I did. Give it a look. See what you think. All right. So next time we get back together, we're talking about actually how to. We're talking tactics. We're talking about what to say, who to say it to, all that kind of stuff. We're even going to get into reviews and how you get rid of them if they violate rules and stuff like that. We're going to go into all that. So, but for right now, you really should respond to reviews. Don't let that space where it says, what does it say? That part where it says from the business owner, don't let that space go empty. Reply to all your reviews. And if you got a bunch of reviews right now that you haven't responded to, get over there. Type them in. It matters. It really, really does. All right. That's it for now. I'm going to bounce. I'll see you next time. Deuces.